What's going on, guys? It's your boy Spudzie here. I know it's been a while, but we are back with the reworked hammer for the Revenant. The hammer was reworked fairly recently and saw changes to almost every skill. Animations became way faster and damage stayed solid. Now, the moment that a lot of Revenant players have been asking for is finally here. JDs and Littlemen, I am proud to announce that the hammer is now meta. This thing is absolutely insane right now. Every button on the hammer is actually worth pressing as they all lead to huge damage. Even the auto attack lets you turn off your brain and go machine gun mode from time to time. Hammer 2 has huge burst damage that goes through projectile hate and can damage multiple enemies. Hammer 3 does good damage when combined with Hammer 2, but is mainly used as a very clutch evasion skill that will leave foes more crippled than my gambling addiction. Worth it. Hammer 4 got the glow up of a lifetime, now offering Aegis, damage, and faster animations. This skill is much more usable now and actually feels smooth to press. Hammer 5 feels even better to land now, with its cast time shortened dramatically and it becoming a lingering effect. You can now combo with it and not be animation locked. These changes were an absolute success in making the hammer feel much better to use, so much so that they actually had to nerf it due to how well it's been performing. But regardless, nerfs aside, the hammer is still tearing up PvP on the Vindicator, who can utilize it in many gross builds to a great success. If you want to turn off your brain in PvP and just go Oonga Boonga mode, just switch to Devestation and you will be pumping out the hammers, as the animation time for this thing is super fast now. Just look at this. If Oonga Boonga is not your style, that's totally understandable. Just switch out to Devestation and Salvation. You will have a lot more tankiness and be able to actually side node and take on these 1v1 or smaller skirmishes, while still having that incredible burst that Vindicators are able to dish out. I think my favorite skill that they reworked on the hammer would probably have to be Hammer 4. While it does seem a bit boring, you know, you press the button, a shield comes up, and that's about it. It's actually probably the most impactful change that we've done. The projectile block shield comes out immediately, you get Aegis, and also sends out a bolt. Now this bolt you fire out actually does some pretty good damage, and when combined with your auto attacks can lead to some pretty nice bursts. And the shield that you actually get to block projectiles is actually very relevant in the current meta and in quite a few different scenarios. For example, if you want to go in for the kill with your greatsword, you can just throw up this projectile shield and be fully protected as you waltz towards the enemy. All of our heals on the Revenant are pretty much channeled, so being able to have a shield that blocks any projectiles while you are channeling this heal, plus Aegis to protect from daze, it's just great defensive play. And on topic of that, Hammer 3. This skill is actually insane. You're able to just jump forward and deal some damage, yeah, you know, the usual Hammer 3 stuff. But using it as an evade is actually the secret tech that you're probably going to want to do when you are using this skill in close combat. Now, I sometimes will switch to the hammer and get the Hammer 4 shield just so I can heal up, but I will be stuck in hammer for a little bit before I can swap back out to my melee abilities. This is where I will use Hammer 5 to kind of create some space. You know, if you want to push me, that's fine, you are going to get stunned and knocked down. Or using Hammer 3 to dodge key abilities and stall out for more dodges, cooldowns, or even swaps. It just works really well as a techie defensive weapon. You know, it's not really supposed to be used for defense, but you can do it like that if you really want to. And a really good offensive weapon. I think another really funny thing about the hammer is that no one expects it. Like, you will see very often when you use the hammer on a spec like the Vindicator in competitive game modes, people are not used to this. You know, it's been like, what, like 8 years, 7 years, I don't know how long, since Revenant came out and no one's played the hammer in PvP. I mean, maybe in the early days, but in the last like 5 years, no one's done it, right? So they're not going to expect you to just be smacking them for thousands of damage from range. Usually what I do is I go in with my greatsword, start doing damage, and they'll start to like kite away. But then they'll start to realize that that's not working, because in combination with my auto attacks plus my hammer 4, you are just going to be taking a ton of damage. Hammer 2 just chunks down health bars, goes through all kinds of projectile hate. You're just going to be watching your enemies fall over as they see you swap to this giant hammer and be like, what the hell is this? What is going on? But those are just my thoughts on the new reworked hammer for the Revenant. I do believe that it's probably a 10 out of 10. PvP, the Vindicator can actually be a huge threat when it comes to DPS and using the hammer from range. Having that hammer to go through any projectile hate and just chunking down health bars, you know, 5 target cap, is just insane, while still having really good burst damage from a greatsword and sustainability, because, you know, you are a Vindicator, you do have a Salvation trait line, or you have a invocation trait line with just massive crit. There's just so many options and different builds that you can play with it that makes this rework a huge success and makes the hammer on the Revenant feel versatile and just feel really good to use with its fluid animations now and just ease of use. Let me know down below what you think of the hammer on the Revenant. Do you think the rework was a success? What are some things that you would change or would have liked to have seen? Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.